have the first set of grandchildren. Please come up. Although Mudandi went earlier.
Good afternoon. On behalf of my grandmother, Shushu, and the rest of the family, I want to thank you all for being here. I want to thank you for mourning with us on the passing of my grandfather. I am not really a public speaker. I think I got that from him. Just joking. We all know Honorable Maina Wanjigi loved to speak, and he loved to speak in public. He would always encourage me to do so, but I took it and I transformed it a bit, and I married a talker. I married Susan Wanjigi, who is on radio.
But for me, the one thing I know I will hold on to for the rest of my life is what Guka taught me. And that is how to be a good person. For that, I am and always will be grateful. This is James Wekesa Awori. This is his sister, Maria Awori, married Kevin Roro. I am his wife, Susan Joroge Awori. And Guka, I just want to say thank you for giving me the best husband in the world. I have only been married for 1 year, but I am ready to go head to head with any woman here and prove to you that I have the best husband in the whole world. So in not so many words, rest well, Guka, and thank you.
Thank you very much. Maina and Wambui.
Good afternoon. When I was thinking about what to say, there was one sentence that kept ringing in my head, and that was, we're soldiering on. See, now growing up, we used to stay over at Guka and Shosho's house, and that was one of the best memories, going to the farm when you were very young. And it was a break from home when my parents were a bit too much sometimes. The meets, the bonding, even with my fellow cousins. Our grandparents would give us very good knowledge into what life would throw at us. And that sentence, we're soldiering on, was always there. Now, when I was away during high school and university, so when I would come back, we'd meet as a family, and every gathering, it would always end with Luca looking at me and saying, we'll talk. And I knew that meant we'd go talk in the office. Initially, I was scared, to be honest, but at some point, it turned into advice, leadership, and all those things you need to learn as a man. I would always ask him, Guka, how are you? He always says, we're soldiering on. And the meeting would always end with, we're soldiering on. Even when things got bad for him, even when we're in a hospital together, I would always ask, Guka, how are you? He said, we're soldiering on.
I am seeing less breakouts, I am seeing less blemishes, and I'm impressed.
From here, possibilities are everywhere. From taking first steps here.
Thank you, Guka, for instilling strength in me and our family. And from wherever you are, just know we as a family are soldiering on. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. God is good, and all the time. I know words won't be able to do justice to the magnificent portrait of the life you, Guka, had. Guka, you are a man of integrity, a man of great strength, and a man of character. The wisdom and insight you implemented into our minds will live on for generations to come, and it is what shaped me into the person I am today. Your trove of knowledge, skills, and achievements never failed to amaze me. Guka, you are truly one of a kind. My earliest memory of Guka was when us grandchildren used to come over for sleepovers in Karen. Guka used to come home at night from work and find us having pillow fights in the living room. Without hesitation, he actively participated in those fights. Guka was also a man with great clairvoyance and was a great analyst. He would always think before speaking, and whatever he said, sure enough, happened. I remember when we all watched the World Cup finals in 2022. If any of you remember that match, especially for the French supporters out there, you know how heart-racing that match was. France and Argentina drew 3-3, then went into penalties. Guka told me that day, France is not going to win. I looked at him and thought he was crazy and didn't know anything about football. Being a French supporter, I refused to believe what he said, but funny enough, France lost on penalties. Guka was also somebody who was very proud of his grandchildren and loved to show us off. He told me one day he was getting many calls about my speech at the manifesto launch of my father, and that when negotiations start for my own wedding, that he'll give me away with dollars instead of Kenya shillings. Guka was also a man who loved speaking and always wanted to inspire the minds of the younger generation. Every time I sat down with him, he always advised, inspired, and educated me. Guka was also deeply devoted to his faith. He loved reading us Bible stories in bed, especially about Moses, and quizzing us about them after. Guka was also somebody who loved his chocolate cake and wine, and he cunningly got me to indulge in those dark chocolates and wine and not tell my parents, as it was our little secret. This was all before I was legal. As we celebrate this great man today and continue his legacy, I want to leave you with the heartfelt words of the brilliant Albert Einstein. Our death is not an end if we can live on in our children, for they are us. Our bodies are only wilted leaves on the tree of life. Guka, I will miss you so much, and I promise to make you proud by making your name live on. Thank you.
Big clap, both of them. Thank you. Now we have the last set of grandchildren. That is the tallest in our family, Cairo and Wanjiro Gatembo.
Okay. Mine will be short. I don't know Maina Wanjigi. I don't know him. However, who I do know is Guka. I don't know the politician Maina Wanjigi. I don't know how he helped the people of his county. I don't know the Maina Wanjigi who helped the SOS Foundation. I don't know Maina Wanjigi. All these stories people are telling are new to me because I didn't know Maina Wanjigi. I knew Guka. My Guka who would slip me wine in the tiniest wine glass at dinner when I spent the night, 2 glasses maximum, just like him. My Guka who would read me Bible stories and quiz me on them later, or even as he was reading, just to make sure I was paying attention. My Guka who would sit with me by the fire and discuss the books we were reading at the time. That was my Guka. That's the man I remember. So like I said, I don't know Maina Wanjigi. I just know Guka. I know someone who took me and my brother to Giraffe Center for an outing once. I know someone who used to call me his best friend. I know someone who used to make a face whenever I'd mention men in the kitchen. Someone who loved chocolate more than me. That's who I know. That's who I remember. I'm learning about Maina Wanjigi, but I'm missing my Guka.
Oh, thank you.
Mr. Maina Wanjigi, a man with many titles, minister, businessman, father, uncle. To me, he was my guka. At my very few 13 years, guka has taught me very many valuable lessons. One time I remember, we had gone to stay the night in Karen. What happened then was, he had the brilliant idea. We go to the dam and we started fishing. Unfortunately, I didn't catch any fish that day. I was deeply sad about that. Later that day, Guka told me that we should go again on another time. I never finished that fishing trip, unfortunately. That's the one lesson I learned, which was never give up. You'll only fail if you stop. Another thing was his unwavering optimism and sharp and he's very sharp. He was a very sharp man. Every time I saw him, he was in a suit or a blazer or something very stylish. For the next lesson, he always used to tell me a story about how he went to Hawaii and came back with the first macadamia seeds. It was a great story. It taught me a lot. I never knew of the minister side of Guka until then. Anyways, yeah, in short, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Cairo is the tallest, and by the way, he's a genius. He's a true genius. Now we have my brothers-in-law as the last of the tributes. That's Dr. Martin Awori. Martin will read for us. Martin will read, and Justice Katembo.